Hello everyone, welcome back. Friends, we had started something with regards to environmental pollution, and just with a quick revision, we will move forward today for the water pollution. So in the last lecture we had seen an important concept of pollution with regards to soil, or let's call it as land pollution. In the same part we have seen what are the causes of land pollution, what are the effects of land pollution on the human health as well as ecological health or ecological environment. Can we have any preventive measures like technological or cleanup methods, or we can call it as remediation also. And with moving on forward today for the lecture on continuation with pollution, we are going to discuss an important topic with regards to water pollution. So let's see what we are going and try to cover up in today's lecture. We are going to see today with regards to water pollution, that is what are the sources of water. So I need not tell you regarding this about the sources of water because we have done it many a times in our past lectures. Still, for a quick revision, we will go for a sources of water. Then we will see what are these basic surface sources, subsurface sources and frozen sources, so that it becomes easy for us to understand how the water pollution is being created. Next, we will try to understand the exact definition of water pollution, effects of water pollution on environment and human health like we have seen in our last lecture for the soil purposes. Also, we will try to find out what are the preventive measures which can be taken for controlling this water pollution. Now, this preventive measures of course will be some kind of treatment processes which also includes the BIS quality standard. Now, BIS quality standard will be a completely chart based study, and we will just try to give an overlook upon the complete chart so that we can understand what is the basic idea of standardizing the water quality. Next, we will try and understand the water treatment processes. Now, when we are studying the water treatment process, it should be very clear in mind that we are not going to study a single process. It will be a multiple process, and you people have to keep in mind that these multiple processes are used depending upon the quality of the water, the region in which the water is to be studied, or the type of the water, like maybe hard water or maybe a soft water. So depending upon the region type, depending upon the quality of the water, the minerals found in the water, the maybe some kind of metals are also found in this water. On these basis, this water treatment process will be developed. Also, you should always keep in mind that when we are studying something about the water treatment process, it also means what kind of water are we trying to purify. That means whether we are trying to purify drinking water, or maybe it is a drainage water or industrial water or sewage water. So it depends on. So the treatment varies depending upon the type of the water also. So let's start and understand what is basically water pollution. So before starting water pollution, let's just give me a brief about the water, its sources. So water pollution basically is something like we have studied in the soil pollution, that it is unwanted insertion or unwanted addition of the physical chemical components into the soil. Similarly, when we are talking something about the water pollution, it means unwanted addition of the chemical products, physical products, biological products, maybe it can be a radiological products also, which will alter the complete chemical reaction of the water. Okay, so what will happen when a pollutant is added in the water? It will completely change the property of the water. Which kind of property? It will change physical, chemical, biological property of the water. Now this water pollution is a cause because of course human. So it can of course be causing an effect on human also. So directly or indirectly, as I said before also, that any kind of pollutant will be an effect of human. Also it will affect human. That means we are causing the pollutant, and of course we will be only the part, or we will only are the organism, living system on the earth which will be hampered at a larger amount. Of course, the other systems are also hampered, like the aquatic life or maybe any kind of water body which depends upon the sources. Okay. Now let's understand sources of water in a very brief. So we have gone through the sources of water, but just for a revision purpose, we will try to understand the sources of water. So like we have seen that the sources of water means a hydrosphere. That means we are studying the physical geography depending upon based on this hydrosphere. So hydrosphere is studied and it is a combined mass. That means we are going to study something, a water body on the earth surface, under the earth surface and over the earth surface. So that is basically called as the hydrosphere. And also we have seen that the total mass of earth hydrosphere is about 1.4 into 10 to the power 18 tons. So this is very much varied condition when we see on, under and over the surfaces. Also we have seen in our past few lectures the sources of water are basically in three forms. Now there are many sources of water, but why we are calling it as basically three forms? Because the more amount of water is present or the more amount of water used by the human being is from these basic three sources, and that is surface water, subsurface water and frozen water. Now, if you remember that we were talking about the surface water as the water which is found in, okay, so water which is found in rivers, lakes and freshwater wetlands. So you should keep this concept in very much clear in your mind that the surface water is present in river, lakes and freshwater wetland. So that means whatever the water is present on this particular body area of planet will be a natural replenishment. That means it will have a precipitation, it will be naturally lost, it will be naturally discharged into the ocean. As a resultant, what we have is the fresh water is present only about 0.3% and 87% is present in the lakes, 11% in swamps and 2% only in rivers. That means one can understand very clearly that this surface water is very important from the point of view of our planet also. Then why to study this surface planet or surface water is the reason because this is the only part which is, or you can say this is a major part which is getting more damage because of the water pollutant contamination, directly or indirectly. The reason is because of precipitation or watershed project or storage capacities, etc. So runoff property is very much there when we are talking something about the surface water, and hence the total quantity of the water available will be completely lost if this kind of pollutant is going to take place continuously on the surface water. So there are some kind of projects which are being given or which are being carried out and these projects are basically run by Brazil. So if you have a very good idea about the country, you can find that they have a larger supply of fresh water. Okay, so Brazil is the country which is having a largest supply of fresh water, which is followed by Russia and then followed by Canada. And why do these people or this country have such a good supply of water is because they have implemented good quality and good amount of water resources development projects. That means they are having a good idea of purifying the water, clearing out the pollutant so that harmful pollutant can be discarded at a proper manner and then it can be reused. Of course, it is very much clear that the amount of pollutant whenever also removed, it can have a small amount of concentration of pollutant. Then also it is a fact that it can be reused because it is one of the form which can be utilized in industries. So we can do that also. The second form which we have studied also is the subsurface water, and if you remember it is also called as a groundwater. So subsurface water or a groundwater is also a fresh water which is present in the pores of the soil. Okay, so we have seen something in the past lecture when we were studying something about hydrosphere, that the water which is present in the spaces of the soils, or we can also say rocks, it is generally called as aquifers. Okay, and this water is a fresh water, so it is basically a drinkable water and it is present in the form of a water table. That means आप कंसिडर कर सकते हो कि जब काफी ज़्यादा डेप्थ में वाटर चला जाता है तो वो सॉइल के पोर्स में ऑक्यूपाई हो जाता है. दैट मीन्स फिल्ट्रेशन अपने आप हो जाता है बिकॉज देयर इज अ लार्ज फिल्ट्रेशन, नेचुरल फिल्ट्रेशन मेथड प्रेजेंट इन द अर्थ सरफेस. एंड ऑफ कोर्स ये काफी ज्यादा अमाउंट ऑक्यूपाई कर देता है स्टोन्स के कैपिलरीज में भी. सो आप यहाँ का जो वाटर है, दैट मीन्स ये जो वाटर होता है सब सरफेस में का, ये काफी ज्यादा प्योर फॉर्म में होता है और ये वाटर टेबल फॉर्म करता है. दैट मीन्स लार्जर अमाउंट में हमें मिल सकता है काफी प्यूरिफाइड वाटर, नेचुरली प्यूरिफाइड वाटर, और इसे हम एक्वीफायर्स भी कहते हैं. But the problem is that because of our continuous use, this water body is only present right now of only 3%. So one can again imagine that we are continuously utilizing the water which is also surface also and under the surface also. That means in the ground levels also. Now why is it important again to study the subsurface water is because like we know the water has a good capacity of penetration. That means जैसे हमने कहा था कि ये penetrate करके जाता है और soil के pores में जाके deposit हो जाता है. Now think about it that if you add pollutant to it, the pollutant will also get penetrated into this subsurface water body, that means water table or aquifers, and it will stabilize over there. It will get saturated over there. Because of this saturation, of course, the problem will be directly caused on the water body like the oceans, or maybe we can see like wells. So it will have a directly impact on it. Because of this impact, the complete loss of water will take place. Because वहाँ पे सिर्फ पॉइजनस मिनरल्स जमा हो रहे हैं तो हम वो नहीं यूज कर पाएंगे. इवन दो इट इज अ लार्जेस्ट वाटर बॉडी और एक्वीफायर, हम उसे यूज नहीं कर पाएंगे. एंड हेंसफोर्थ आपको सब सरफेस वाटर का ज्यादा अच्छी तरह पता होना चाहिए. नेक्स्ट पार्ट जो हमने देखा था when we were studying something about the frozen part, hydrosphere was a frozen water body, and this frozen water body is again a fresh water body. Okay, so आप अगर ध्यान में दो तो we are trying to study something related to fresh water body. Why we are studying fresh water body? Because it is one of the water body which is directly in contact of the human being. So you are using it at household purposes, for drinking purposes, for your daily routine purposes, for crop plantation. So that is the purpose why we are going and trying to study something about the freshwater bodies only. And as we know, this frozen water body is 68.7%. That means it is the largest water body part compared to that of the surface water and subsurface water. But again the problem occurs that there is no method being found out to use this frozen water because it is entrapped in ice caps in the glaciers, and one cannot find easily method. Even though we have developed a lot of technology, yet we are lagging behind with the idea of understanding how this water body can be used directly for the human utilization, any purpose, by any purpose, but the exact method cannot be found out. Okay. Next, what we are going to study in today's point, after studying the sources of water, and if you are very much clear with the sources of water, you can understand very easily what is the source of water pollution. So अब तक हमने देखा था वो था sources of water. That means हम कहाँ से water use कर सकते हैं directly और indirectly. So ये तीन sources हमने purposefully लिए हैं. Reason है क्योंकि हमें fresh water study करना है. रीजन है बिकॉज हमें वाटर पोल्यूशन स्टडी करना है फ्रेश वाटर के बेसिस पे. हम ऑफ कोर्स ओशंस के बेसिस पे भी स्टडी करने वाले हैं, बट फ्रेश वाटर इसलिए बिकॉज हमें कॉजेज पता करने हैं, हमें क्या इफेक्ट होता है, क्या इम्पैक्ट होता है ह्यूमन लाइफ पे, ये स्टडी करना है. सो हमारा नेक्स्ट पॉइंट होगा दैट इज सोर्सेज ऑफ वाटर पोल्यूशन. नाउ देयर आर टू बेसिक सोर्सेज ऑफ वाटर पोल्यूशन, सो यू शुड कीप दिस पॉइंट वेरी मच इन योर माइंड कि सिर्फ दो ही पॉइंट सोर्स होते हैं. ओके, वाटर पोल्यूशन के सोर्सेज कॉजेज अलग है. सोर्सेज का मतलब होता है कहां से वाटर पोल्यूशन आता है, कौन से पॉइंट से आता है, उसे हम सोर्स कहेंगे. ऑन एन एल्स कॉज अगर हम देखें तो कॉजेज बहुत निकल सकते हैं. देयर आर नंबर ऑफ कॉजेज. So अगर क्वेश्चन आता है बाय चांस what are the sources, sorry, how many sources of water pollution are there, it is only 2 sources. And if they ask you the question how many causes of water pollution are there, then it can go for number of causes. Okay, so पहले हम sources देखेंगे, बाद में हम causes देखेंगे, so it becomes easy for you people to understand. Let's understand what are the two major sources of water pollution. So basically two chief major sources of water pollution, what you have to keep in mind, are called as point source and the second one is called as non-point source. Okay, so ये काफी क्लियर होना चाहिए, पॉइंट सोर्स का मतलब क्या होता है और नॉन पॉइंट सोर्स का मतलब क्या होता है. लेट्स ट्राई एंड अंडरस्टैंड. नाउ व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय पॉइंट सोर्स. सो वर्डिंग्स के हिसाब से ही आपको पता चल जाएगा कि द पॉइंट सोर्स मीन्स द पोल्यूटेंट्स आर डिस्चार्ज एट अ स्पेसिफिक लोकेशन. एक पर्टिकुलर लोकेशन पे ही पोल्यूटेंट रिलीज आउट होते हैं, एक पर्टिकुलर पोजीशन पे ही वो जमा होते हैं. सो दैट इज कॉल्ड एज अ पॉइंट सोर्स. सो इसके एग्जांपल्स होते हैं लाइक पाइप से, इंडस्ट्रियल पाइप से जो रिलीज होता है, या फिर डिचेस में जो जमा होता है, या फिर सीवर्स जिसे हम सीवेजेस बॉडी भी कहते हैं, उसमें जो जमा होता है. सो दैट इज फैक्ट्रीज, सीवेजेस, या फिर माइनिंग होता है, ऑयल टैंकर्स भी होता है, इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन भी होता है. सो इन शॉर्ट आपको याद ये रखना है पॉइंट सोर्स में दैट द वाटर पोल्यूटेंट इज डिस्चार्ज ओके एट अ specific location. This is very much important, this point, that it is discharged at a specific location. It is not released out or discharged at every part. Discharged at specific location. Then what is non-point source? Of course, this will be an opposite of point source. Non-point source are the pollutants that cannot be traced at a single point. ओके, दैट मीन्स इसका डिस्चार्ज हम ट्रेस आउट नहीं कर सकते, इसका डिस्चार्ज काफी वाइडर अमाउंट में होता है. रीजन इज बिकॉज वाटर इज कंटिन्यूसली फ्लोइंग. दिस इज वन पार्ट एंड द सेकेंड इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट इज बिकॉज एयर ऑल्सो कैरीज सम अमाउंट ऑफ वाटर which we call it as in vapors form, and this vapor form can also carry the chemicals which is of course a आइडिया ऑफ एसिड रेन. सो अगर आपको एसिड रेन काफी अच्छी तरह से याद है तो हमने देखा था कि व्हेन देयर इज अ डिपोजिशन ऑफ द सल्फर्स एंड नाइट्रोजन प्रोडक्ट्स, नाइट्रेट प्रोडक्ट्स, देयर इज रिलीज ऑफ सल्फर्स एंड नाइट्रोजन प्रोडक्ट्स थ्रू द चिमनीज. Okay, that is a human idea, and through natural processes like volcanic eruption and lightning processes. जब सल्फर और नाइट्रोजन रिलीज आउट होता है तो वो एटमॉस्फेयर में जाके मिल जाता है. ये हो गया फर्स्ट पार्ट. एटमॉस्फेयर में मिलने के वजह से क्लाउड्स में जाके जमा होता है एंड विथ वाटर वेपर्स इट अगेन कम बैक्स टू द अर्थ इन अ फॉर्म ऑफ अ रेन विच वी कॉल इट एज एसिड रेन. दैट इज वन पार्ट एंड द सेकेंड पार्ट इज सम पार्ट ऑफ dust particle which is heavier in its chemical property, its physical property, directly settle down on the surface of the earth. जहाँ पे with water moisture जो earth के surface पे होगा उसके साथ में वो absorb हो जाएगा और of course ये नीचे जाके settle होना शुरू हो जाएगा. That means it will try and penetrate into the earth surface and it will settle down over there. Same is about the non-point source. सो हम इसका एक पर्टिकुलर एरिया कहाँ से डिस्चार्ज हुआ है ये पता नहीं कर सकते, हमें इसका सिंगल सोर्स पता नहीं होता है. इट इज वेरी वाइड. सो ये मे बी लॉन्स हो सकता है, मे बी गल्फ एरियाज या फिर क्रॉपलैंड्स, एनीथिंग. सो विच इज अ वाइडर एरिया. आप एक इमेजिन कर सकते हो कि नॉन पॉइंट सोर्स pollutant which are released at a wider area and point source which is released at a very small specified area. पॉइंट सोर्स का मतलब होता है हम इसका पोल्यूटेंट कहाँ पे रिलीज हुआ है ये पता कर सकते हैं, जिसके वजह से हम इसमें ट्रीटमेंट इजीली कर सकते हैं. ऑन एन अदर हैंड नॉन पॉइंट सोर्स में हम इसका एग्जैक्टली सोर्स ही पता नहीं कर सकते. मे बी रन ऑफ के वजह से ओशंस में मिक्स हो जाता है, रन ऑफ कहाँ से आया हम ये क्लियरली डिफाइन नहीं कर पाएंगे तो हम इसका सोल्यूशन भी नहीं निकाल पाएंगे. सो नॉन पॉइंट सोर्सेज में प्रॉब्लम क्या होता है, द पोल्यूटेंट आर देयर एट अ लार्जर अमाउंट एट अ लार्जर स्पेस एरिया बिकॉज ऑफ विच the deposition takes place at a larger area and henceforth one cannot easily give a solution to it. That is the problem of non-point sources. Next we will try and understand today what are the causes of water pollution. So basically when we are talking something about the causes of water pollution it is wider. जैसे हमने कहा था that is sources of water and causes of water are two different parts. So source मतलब typical source कहाँ से आया है, पॉइंट है या फिर नॉन पॉइंट है। अब जब हम देखेंगे कॉजेस तो इट विल अगेन गो वेरी वाइडर। फॉर एग्जाम्पल वी आर गोइंग टू टॉक समथिंग अबाउट द इंडस्ट्रियल वेस्ट, सीवेज वेस्ट, माइनिंग एक्टिविटीज और मे बी मराइन डंपिंग, एक्सीडेंटल लीकेजेस एक्सेट्रा। लेट्स गो वन बाय वन एंड इन अ वेरी ब्रीफ आइडिया, बिकॉज हम लोगों को काफी अमाउंट में ये पता होता है कि पोल्यूटेंट कहाँ से आए, बट हमें सिर्फ आज स्टडी करना है व्हाट काइंड ऑफ पोल्यूटेंट इज बीइंग रिलीज्ड आउट फ्रॉम दिस पर्टिकुलर स्टेट और कॉज। The very first is the industrial waste product. So industrial waste product, of course you people know that it is a toxic chemical which is released out as a pollutant. And what are the industrial waste product which is released out in the water? Can be lead, mercury, sulfur, asbestos, nitrates. Of course, when you look at these terms only, when you look at these products only, you can find that these all are heavy metal products like lead, mercury, asbestos are very heavy. If you go with sulfur and nitrates, of course we know that these are the causes of pollutant because it comes back to the earth in a form of a acid rains. So of course it will directly harm on human health. Okay, so this is one factor. Second important factor, it will not only cause on human health but it can also cause on the water bodies when it gets mixed with the water bodies. For example, many industries when do not have a proper management system, जब वो directly water pollutant जो इंडस्ट्रीज में तैयार होता है वो directly release out होता है, तो either अगर ये point source में होता है तो it will get saturated at one pit, okay, at one part. But if it is released out, for example if you see that most of the industries are present at the very coastal part of maybe river or ocean. So the part over here is the construction is done for the purpose that easily available of water is there. So ये पार्ट देखकर ये कंस्ट्रक्ट किया जाता है इंडस्ट्री को, बट इसका दूसरा साइड इफेक्ट क्या होता है कि वाटर पोल्यूटेंट डायरेक्टली रिलीज आउट किया जाता है मे बी ओशन में, अगर ओशन के पास में होगा या फिर रिवर में या फिर कैनाल में. सो यू कैन सी दैट डायरेक्टली देयर इज एन इम्पैक्ट ऑन द सी, कैनाल्स, रिवर्स, ओशंस, fresh water bodies, underground water bodies, and this will directly result into an aquatic system also. Okay, so that is called as industrial waste. So आपको याद रखना है कि industrial waste में से क्या pollutant release out होगा, that is lead, mercury, sulfur, asbestos and nitrates. The second one is sewage water. इसे हम waste water भी कहते हैं. Now the sewage water is basically produced in household purposes. It is completely filled with chemical because हमें पता है कि हम काफ़ी amount में chemicals use करते हैं. For example, we use chemicals or we use detergents, we use soaps, different kinds of acids also for cleaning our bathrooms, basins, toilets, etc. So this is completely filled. That means sewage waste or waste water is completely, which is produced by household treatments, is completely filled with the chemical, and this is directly released out into the fresh water and then into the sea. If considered the sewage water is not treated properly, it will carry of course also the harmful chemicals as well as bacteria, because we know that this sewage water is nothing else but the household product, that means household waste water, and we know that it is completely filled with the pathogen which will directly result into many harmful diseases such as diarrhea or maybe some kind of vomiting, cholera also. Okay, the third one is the mining activity. Now we have seen something in mining activity that if you want to extract out something which is very crucial to you, for example let's go with the coal, so it is very much crucial for our from the economic point of view, but to extract out this from the mine you have to crush down the rocks, and when you are crushing down the rocks you are trying to extract out the mineral, but at the same time you are trying to add harmful chemicals which are present in the mining sources, which are present in these stones. Because of crushing they directly get mixed into the water which is called as the groundwater, and this groundwater then passes through the form of a canals. Okay, so ये internal canals होते हैं, ये internal canals के वजह से ये waste material जो होता है, जो heavy metals होते हैं, for example sulfides, ये पास ऑन हो जाएंगे कहाँ पे, तो आपके वाटर बॉडीज में जो अंडर वाटर है. ऑफ कोर्स अगर ये हमारे यूटिलाइजेशन में आ जाता है तो डायरेक्टली और इनडायरेक्टली इट विल इफेक्ट ऑन आर कंप्लीट बॉडी सिस्टम ऑल्सो. The next one is marine dumping, and this is a very large part which is going on right now in our ecosystem. Whole of the garbage, let us go from the household products, or maybe it can be an industrial products also. It reaches into the seawater which is present at the countryside. Now these products include many harmful products such as papers, rubbers, glasses, aluminiums, plastics. Even the foods are being directly dumped into this country ocean sides. Maybe river waters also carried directly into the ocean sides. Now what happens when it is dumped directly? You can find that there is such a kind of deposition of water pollutant, these harmful water pollutant, which can last. That means some can last for 2 weeks and some even can last for 200 years. So you can find that the products like paper or food will last somewhat about 2 to 3 weeks. So and then after they'll get into a decomposition process, or they'll get completely utilized by the another ecosystem or environment. But if the products such as aluminium, rubber, glass, plastic is being dumped into the sea water or ocean water, it will directly affect on the water body because it will saturate over there for around 100 to 200 years or more than that also. Because plastic is not decomposable, rubber is not decomposable, henceforth it will last over there for years together and it will directly result on the ecosystem. नेक्स्ट वन इज एक्सीडेंटल ऑयल स्पिल. सो एक्सीडेंटल ऑयल स्पिल आप लोगों को पता होगा कि ह्यूज अमाउंट ऑफ ऑयल जब कैरी किया जाता है तो वो कैरी किया जाता है सीज के मीडियम से. दैट मीन्स मेनी कंट्रीज लाइक इंडिया ऑल्सो वी हैव एन इम्पोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट प्रॉपर्टी. सो आपको अगर इम्पोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट पता है तो आपको ये भी क्लियर होगा दैट वी बाय ऑयल प्रोडक्ट्स. ओके, नाउ petroleum products when are being carried from one country to another country, of course it will be carried through a route of sea because that is the only easiest method which or shortest method through which it can pass away. So when you carry something like petroleum products through the sea, it will sometimes in some cases accidentally release out the water which will then be completely spread over on the water surface, which will of course cut down the supply of oxygen because there is a complete layer formation of the water of the oil on the water body which cannot be easily removed out later form. Also this will cut down the oxygen consumption, the oxygen level will lower down and the organisms which are completely dependent on aquatic life, that means aquatic system like fishes, crabs, etc., they will completely lose their existence because there is a cut down of the oxygen supply. Very quickly, the next one is burning of fossil fuels. So this should not be very much difficult for you people to understand that directly burning of the coal and oil will cause an ash, and this ashes and gases product will then settle down on the water body. First form directly, or second form they will mix with the water vapor and they will come down in a form of a acid rain. The next one is chemical fertilizers or pesticides. So we people know that we are continuously using the pesticides and fertilizers for the development of the product, that is crop product. So we want more food and we are using fertilizers and pesticides, as well as we want to protect our crop from the insecticides and pesticides. So we are using continuously pesticides. There is no harm in using pesticides unless and until it is naturally produced. So try to use naturally produced pesticides and fertilizers rather than using chemical fertilizers. The next one is the urban development. Now we know that we are being developing too much. Like I said, we are using pesticides and fertilizers to have more amount of crop plant, to grow more amount of food product. And that is one important part because of urban development. That means we are creating cities and villages also. There is a huge amount of housing. There are of course more amount of housing, more amount of food, more amount of clothes. So more amount of cities are developed. The more amount of cities are developed, fertilizers will be used more, the garbage will be produced more, it will be dumped more, deforestation will take place at a larger amount, and chemicals will be released out from the industries at a larger amount. So it will directly develop into a kind of a pollutant. Next one is leakage from the landfills. Now landfills is nothing but basically huge tanks are being created to collect the garbages, and consider if there is continuously dumping of the garbage over there, at certain point there might be some kind of the leakage, and this leakage will directly turn into the landfill. That means these are the underground tankages or tanks which are developed. If for sudden there is a leakage taking place, this leakage will then pass on directly into the underground water. Similar goes with the animal waste also. So with animal waste, which are sometimes very much filled with the bacterial or chemical component, can cause the waterborne diseases when enter into the drinking water, which is of course obtained from the river water or underground water. So the problems can be like diarrhea, jaundice, dysentery, cholera. So that are the points which can cause a very much problem. Okay. So friends, we have seen today in our lecture something related to water pollution. We have gone through what are the sources of water pollution. What are the sources of water? So basically three sources: surface water, subsurface water, and frozen water. Sources of water pollution are two major parts, that is point source and non-point source, and causes of water are number of causes of water, out of which we have seen few of the causes. We have tried to see few of the causes. So I hope you people have understood it very clearly. Till the next lecture we meet, study hard.